Good evening, TC, and welcome all to our weekly podcast, Terry Currans, the Curran View, with the Idol of Hillsborough, Mr. Terry Curran. And if you're listening to the free first half on either Acast or Spotify, you can follow the links on our socials and access the full podcast via either Apple or become a Patreon, all the w's.patreon.com/SRBmedia. You can follow the podcast on Twitter @Curran View, on Facebook, The Curran View, or join our group, which has over 3,200 members now. Thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Steady away, TC.
Well, I'm feeling a little bit better. I've been bad for 2 days. When I said bad, I get these vertigo. It makes the room spin round. I have to lay down for hours on end. I've got them about last 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years.
Yeah.
But I feel a bit better today.
It makes you feel a bit dizzy, and you know now how the defenders felt back in the 70s and the 80s when you played against them, and you run them dizzy as well, TC.
Yeah, but I used to make myself dizzy by throwing them one way and going the other way. My head used to shake.
But good that you're back on form, TC. Lots of players and teams were on form the weekend. What magic moments have you looked at and are you giving us this week on the podcast?
I think we have to stop it, really do, because there's that terrible. Many from all divisions.
Yeah.
And I didn't do this last night. It's Wednesday night now we're doing this podcast. And we're lucky because I have seen highlights. I didn't see the game of Paris Saint-Germain, but I'm going for that. Absolutely brilliant initiative of Neymar just to lob it. I did that myself in the game, lobbed it over a couple of defenders, and then Mbappe volleyed it in the back of the net. But I do feel embarrassed keep picking, the elite team, because there's that many good goals in the lower level of football now. Absolutely. And it's great saves, But we're always, like you said, we're looking for the greatness of it all. And that was great initiative that for him to flick it up like that and Mbappe finish it off like he did. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I did see it. I have put it down on one of my magic moments. So I looked at it and I just went, wow. I mean, the audacity.
I thought of you when you saw it. I thought, that's a Gabby's magic moment, that.
But it isn't. How difficult as a player, T, is it to do that? Because they made that look so easy. It was a training ground
move. The difficult, choose how good you are, the difficult part is the volley.
Yeah.
Because you've got to let the volley drop, and once the volley's coming below your knee, then you'll catch it right. If you don't, now the other bit is not hard, because I used to do things like that in training.
Yeah.
Get it? I mean, Jack used to go ballistic. Why do you keep doing it? But we used to get goals off it.
Yeah.
But if you get if you get your body in line with the ball, which he did do, if you look at it, he's got his body in line with the ball's stopped, and he's got his toe end right under it, and he's lifted it right over. So it's not as difficult as what you think it is for those type of players. It isn't. The difficult part is the volleying part and everything. I mean, there were magic moments, not only in that game. I've seen your magic moments on what you put up. How do you pick them? It's not fair, really, is it?
It isn't, but things like that.
But we have to do it.
We would do, and things like that just are magical moments, and that's why we watch football, to look at things like what Neymar and Mbappe done on a football pitch. I also love the way that Trossard got that penalty, the way that he'd done his defender, and that little bit of trickery on the byline that took him by, he got the penalty. I think he's a tremendous football player. And also I've got to mention, in that same game, McAllister's goal that was disallowed was unbelievable. And if I was drawing the lines there, as the lines, the VAR referee, what they call, I'd move that line to get that goal still rolled in.
Gabby, what is the game all about?
It's about goals, and why disallow
goals,
that?
Entertainment, magic moments, brilliance in a game.
Yeah.
Why are we? I know we've got to get big decisions right, but we're talking about fractions here, right? And we're seeing spectacular goals being disallowed. Now, people are saying, well, we've had more goals given because of VAR. No, we still had plenty not given for fractions, complete fractions. And it should always be in the advantage, of goals, because that's what the fans want to see.
I'd like to see it change back to if there's a part or fresh air, because they used to say if there's fresh air, if you can't see fresh air, you're onside. Or have it where if any part of your body is onside, you're onside. It needs to be changed because we watch games of football. You're absolutely spot on to watch moments of brilliance. And as a footballer as well, you practice all week. You practice since you're a kid. He ain't going to hit a ball any better than that if he plays till he's an octogenarian. It was
Exactly.
fabulous. So if I was doing them lines, I would have moved them lines back so that goal
I
stood.
wouldn't want you to get into trouble because this is the problem, Gabby.
Yeah.
It's fraction things, and we have to. So look, if it's in the forward by an air.
Yeah.
When we look at these fractions on telly, that's what they are.
Yeah.
It's like a piece of air, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah.
We should let that. That's what the people want to see.
Yeah.
Goals, right? We want to see end results, right? Now, the problem once you start doing that, Gabby, then you are a cheat. Now,
yeah,
I'm going to come down this line. Referees have to be made accountable, and I'm not saying all of them. They have to be made accountable because are you telling me that some referees can't be bought, or some of these VRA referees can't be bought? A German referee 10 years ago got bought off.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Right. So, and I know it's only one, but that's all we need, one to cause a major upset. We had Derby and we had Leeds United robbed. We had Liverpool's getting beat, by the way. We had Derby County and Leeds United robbed in the European Cup, and we know now it was proven that referees give decisions the other way. And look, choose who it is, whether it's you, I, or any referee, they've got to be made accountable.
Yeah.
Never mind, everybody makes a mistake. I get that. A mistake, we will all turn around and say, look, that's a genuine mistake. I tell you about the goal against Aston Villa with Sheffield United, right? One of the most stupidest things, same at Huddersfield the other night.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what did I tell you about this VAR? It's not VAR. VAR's not the problem. Never has been. It's people in there. How can people give I can understand the referee one referee giving a decision compared to another referee on a football because it's done in a split second. But how can different people give different decisions on a recording what they've seen 10, 20 times?
But you see, again, the thing is with VAR and where it gets me is that I know they're looking for the offside and there's a clear line, so it is either off or it isn't off. I get that. And the split hairs. And I just wish that they'd change it so these goals are ruled in as goals and not ruled out as disallowed goals. But, when you're looking at the referees, and I just don't think that we've ever had a situation where our referees are so poor, because some of these decisions are obvious decisions. And for me, if you've got to look at something twice, 3 times or more, it isn't clear or obvious. So if you've got to look at something twice, you give the goal.
Don't take this the wrong way. Don't get down the woke way. I'm not going to blame the referees because referees refereeing the game is listening for a decision from the VAR people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He's got to be... the one thing I would say about the referee, he's got to be stronger and say, no, I'm giving that goal.
Absolutely.
Right?
I think Anthony Taylor did that. Yeah, absolutely.
And then he has to take the consequences if it's not a mistake, but if it's something why is he giving that type of thing when we are questioning because they're taking the referee's decision away from him.
Of course they are, but some of the referees are making that bad judgment calls on the field of play that they're looking at something that's clearly obvious and they're missing it. So I get why VAR is there, but if it isn't clear and it
Don't
isn't
give it.
obvious, you exactly, and that's my point. So with the West Ham goal, for instance, against Chelsea, with the Newcastle goal that was disallowed the
There's
weekend,
3 this weekend.
absolutely, but VAR should not have got involved because they wasn't clear and obvious.
Well, this is what this is. So the referees have always made mistakes.
Of course they have. So he
Always.
gives the goal. He gives the goal as he's given the goal. Fine.
Always. Oh, they've always made mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, humans make mistakes. I mean, a man or a woman or a child hasn't made a mistake.
Absolutely.
But he's not been able to referee the game. Listen, they've got an earpiece, right? And you make that decision, that's a foul. Then the VAR people say, come and have a look at it. And then when they go over to it, they've seen it 20 times. Like you just said.
It ain't clear and obvious.
3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah. So if you're refereeing the game and I'm in the VAR studio, you're refereeing it and I've gone, I think you've missed that. I've looked at it 3 times. For me, that looks, go and have a look at it. So you have a look at it, you go, you're talking out your backside. That was never one on the referee. I'm overruling you.
It wouldn't make any difference if it was an ex-player, right, in there. Because if they're saying ex-players.
Yeah.
If that ex-player is doing making the same decisions as that ex-referee in there, it's wrong. Right? Anybody can see that, barring a blind man. As the only a blind man can see cannot see that decision. But anybody else, how they can look and say, that's a foul, or that's not a goal, or that's not a foul. Well, there's something radically wrong.
Absolutely. And again, I go back to the original. If you need to look at it 2 or 3 times, it isn't clear and obvious, so you don't get involved.
We have spent more time talking about VAR than
we're moving
the game itself. And that's what's happening, Gabby.
Absolutely.
That is what's happening.
Absolutely.
It's happening with it. I mean, the people watch on the TV, majority of them, I tell them to the face, I won't go behind the back.
Yeah.
And I'm not against them as people because they want money. And the more money they get, the more money they want. I wouldn't go on the TV and then tell me what I've got to say, what I haven't got to say.
No.
A lot of it's wokeness. And, you look at them when they're talking, you think, they think they're talking to idiots or little kids.
Yeah.
They think that they were always right because they played in the Premier League. Let me tell you, majority of the time they're wrong. They're on a machine. And they're that good. They're that good. And I've always tried to stick up for players. They're that good. Every time they go into management, they fail at it.
Absolutely, TC. Moving on to another magic moment of mine, Ivan Toney's hat-trick the weekend. Sublime.
But Brentford, to be honest, are looking brilliant, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Again, Thomas Frank, great manager. He's done a fantastic job there at Brentford. And Ivan Toney looks every inch an international football player, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if he wasn't called up in the next squad. He looks as though he's absolutely got everything. Unfortunately, he's not in an Arsenal team, a Liverpool team, a Chelsea team, or a Manchester United team. He's playing for
Should that
Brentford.
make any difference, though, Gabby?
It shouldn't, no, but it does, doesn't it?
That tells me certain managers are cowards.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that. If you're playing for a big team, you are going to get the call rather if you're going to play for a smaller team.
A strong word I've used, but, I never feared fear. It was who I was playing against.
Absolutely.
That's not being big-headed. Liverpool were brilliant, but I don't give a shit about Liverpool. After the game, brilliant Dalglish, brilliant Souness, brilliant Thomas, brilliant. Absolutely fantastic, won everything. But before the game, do me a favour.
Absolutely. 100% you've got to believe that you're going to beat that team, whoever it is, and if you don't, then don't put your kit on and don't put your boots on and get involved, because if you haven't got the belief, you ain't going to do nothing. Ivan Toney looks absolutely fabulous. I did watch England's ladies, the women. I watched the goals last night. I saw the scoreline because I was watching Man City and it was 10-0 and I thought, oh my God. But I watched the goals, and I tell you what, they play some fabulous one-touch football. And in particular, that little girl that I've mentioned before, Ella Toon, she was on fire. The kid has got an amazing amount of ability. And just before my magic moment, I just want to talk about the record transfer today that's just gone through. Another female English female player that we identified during the recent Euros, gone from Manchester City to Barcelona. Keira Walsh, the kid has got absolutely everything. And I caught up with Alan. Sorry, mate.
Listen, Gabby, I get it. I get it. Two things on this.
Yeah.
The women's football, I didn't see any of it. But I tell you, the 1 and 2 touch football they play.
Yes.
Who's the manager of England?
The Norwegian bird.
No, she's Dutch.
Sorry, yes, she's Dutch. Serena.
Yeah. Right. What do the Dutch play?
Exactly, 1-2 touch football.
Total football.
Absolutely.
Do they look a different team to Gary Neville's team?
Oh, 100%.
Right. I'm not Gary Neville, Phil Neville.
Phil Neville, yeah.
I'm trying to say to you, when you get elite coaches, you'll get elite football.
Yeah. And
you'll get footballers not playing without fear. Now, women's football, when you start talking about that, where's this money coming from? Because it's not going to come from fans.
Well, in terms of Barcelona, they have been getting unbelievable attendances at the new camp. So I'm guessing that it probably has, but I don't know. But what it needs to do is stand on its own 2 feet. And that kid, I think she's absolutely dynamite.
Can they show us the data that these fans are paying?
Again,
what they're paying in the ground for the men's football.
Again, I did say that on my Facebook pages. I know what the attendances are. Let's look.
I want to be
100%. Again,
that's what I want it to be. 100%. And I'm not trying to say it.
100%. And I said it's great showing us the attendances. Let's have a look at the gate receipts, and that is the acid test. It does need to stand on its own.
Show us the data. Show us the data.
Absolutely, 100%. But I did catch up with Alan Hudson in our latest Alan Hudson's American Adventure. And he talked about the recent Euros. He talked about Serena Wiegmann. And we did start off by talking about Keira Walsh.
SRBMedia.
Now, there's a girl that played, for me, she was the player of the tournament, plays in a similar position to Declan, but she's by far and away, in my opinion, a greater player than Declan Rice. Keira Walsh, I think she, whenever she gets the ball out, okay, physically it's a different game. Up against the one-on-one, she will get nowhere near Declan because of his physical presence, etc. But when you're looking at that eye for the pass, the way that her brain looks at the game, she takes the ball on the half turn, she's always looking to prod positive balls through. And she was a girl that played the ball through to Ella Toon that scored the goal against Germany in the final. But she was doing that throughout the tournament, and her philosophy is totally different. She was the player that held the midfield together. She wasn't a defensive midfield player. She was a proper midfield player. It was almost like watching football back in the 70s when we had Mavericks playing proper footballers.
Well, it's strange. I'll talk about watching Match of the Day last night, and I watched the highlights of the Leeds game, and they got a fella that plays on the left wing called, when he's good, and his name's Harrison.
Yeah, good player.
And when he's good, I mean, in a good team, if someone like Manchester United had him, he would be a good player because he plays as a left winger, not like Rashford. You never know what he's going to do. But the girl's left winger was almost as if it was his twin sister.
Yeah, Lauren Emp.
She was absolutely incredible. She wasn't seen much in the final. In fact, I wondered if she played half the time. Yeah. But she was wonderful throughout. And she was getting the ball. She was coming back and getting it. She was taking the fullback on, whipping crosses in. And I see Harrison hit a couple of crosses in last night, and that was exactly what she was doing in it. So they do watch the men's game, and they improve the game. And, there's always going to be the argument of men playing women. Of course, the men will beat the women because of the physicality of the game. But they're certainly not better players.
SRBMedia.
Listen, I've argued with Simon Stamen about women's football.
Yep.
And I like it. What I won't do now is the wokeness. I don't really, a lot of, I switch it all up, not switch the game off. I just switch the sound off because I don't want to listen to them. It's just repetitive stuff, what they're being told to say.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the one thing that I don't like in it. I don't like the comparison with the men's game. Forget the men's game. It's a different game. Forget about any of them comparisons. Let's just talk about the women's game and what they're doing, and let's move on. Let's watch it for what we
What
want
it
to
is.
watch it for, the skill and the ability that they've got on the ball. And guys, you can access that recent podcast with Alan Hudson's American Adventure on all the usual podcast outlets. So thanks to Alan for that. And we are going to be going out with Tales that Mavericks Tell. And Uddy tells a wonderful story too about an under 23 tour that he went on. It's absolute pucker, top draw. And what
Brilliant.
was also top draw is my big magic moment, and it was Vakun Bayo. I hope I've pronounced his name right. His goal for Watford against Rotherham, and we're going full circle to volleys. How difficult was that strike? Because he took that ball probably waist height.
If you don't time it right,
Yep,
you don't time it. But when he took that waist high, look where his body is.
absolutely. It was
It's
phenomenal,
nearly
wasn't it?
parallel with his leg up.
Yep,
So it's in line.
yep,
When you're facing the goal to hit a volley,
Yep.
you let the ball drop,
yes,
right? When you're getting your leg up, right? If your body has to be parallel with your leg, and that's why it's timed it and hit it perfect. You know, this is. I listen to these on television, and they make me laugh, and I think to myself, "What are they on about? Explain it better than what you are." When you shooting at the goal, if you lean back, we all know this. The ball's going to go high.
yep,
Right? If you hit the ball if you get your foot under the ball, right, it will go wide. Right? If you get to the byline and whip it round, the ball will stay in.
Yeah.
If you're going to cross from an angle and you don't catch it right, the ball will go out. When I keep telling everybody, when we get elite managers in this country, then we'll get elite football. We've got elite football by foreign managers. I told you about Graham Potter when he took over Brighton. It had nothing to do
yep,
with Chris Hughton being English. And he has done what he's done for Brighton, phenomenal. Now, what did I write last week? I wrote last week or the day that Potter would get a chance of a top 4 manager's job. Once he gets that, what he's going to be able to do is handle the elite players. And if he can do that, he becomes elite manager.
Hopefully he will, because again, another manager that you identified very early was Mikel Arteta, and you're absolutely spot on. And you can look at the changes in Arsenal. It's as clear as day, isn't it? I mean, Arsenal under Arteta have got an identity. Under Arteta, they play on the front foot. Under Arteta, they're a different beast, and he looks to be a bright, elite young manager that you said
And I
he would
told
be.
you all
Yeah, you said he
about
would be.
Ten Hag. And I
Yeah.
told you all about Ten Hag. You're all on about, well, he hasn't been managing the Premier League.
Yep.
I've looked at him. I looked at the football they played. Right? He's strong enough to say Ronaldo's not playing. He's strong enough to sit back, analyse the players he's got. This Tony is going to. Is it Tony? Anthony, whatever his name is.
Yes, Anthony.
He's going to be a hell of a player. Hell of a player. Is it right at Man United? No. I could have had Arsenal to finish higher than Tottenham because I've been telling Simon Steinman long enough, but he won't listen to me. Right? I think he started to understand what I've been saying. So I give him a chance. He could have Tottenham. Don't underestimate Manchester United.
Yeah.
Or Ten Hag.
Where do you think United will finish this season now?
Top 4.
Top 4, yeah.
Top 4.
Who have you got to win it? Man City?
What? They can score from any. They score. Listen, if they fetch that goalkeeper out,
Yep.
I went up for every corner. 9 times out of 10, he'll get a goal.
Yeah.
Right? They'll get 1 goal. So they can score from every position.
Yep.
Then they go and buy the greatest striker around at this moment in time. Now, will they have blips? Of course they'll have blips. But how can you see anybody beating? They've got the elite manager of all elite managers.
Yeah.
And I like Klopp. I love the way Liverpool play football. I mean, they've had a bad start this year. But like I said, when I told you, that was a big mistake, that Mane scenario. But, there's got to be more to it.
Yep.
had he fallen out? Had Mane fallen out with Salah? Because I know there's a bit of friction when I watched him play. Has he fallen out with Klopp, or Klopp fallen out with him? £35 million for a 31-year-old, 30-year-old. It's a lot of money, But when you're selling that type of player, you've got to make sure that Liverpool is fetching that type of player in, or they'll fall by the wayside, like Man United done after Fergie, like Liverpool did for years after the Bob Paisley era and all them, and Leeds United did, and Fortis did after Cloughy. Cloughy started to fail when the Premier League came in, didn't he? Because he hadn't got the money.
Yeah.
He hadn't got the money. But it's not rocket science. When for me, it's not. I can analyse it, watch what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and I said, right, he'll be a manager. And I still think Cooper will keep Forest up this year.
Another manager identified.
The problem is they fetch 19 players in. And it's I think that's a good thing, because it's down to the manager to get the best out of him.
Mm-hmm.
But did he need 19 players? And who's fetching them in?
Yep.
Tuchel, new manager come in, new owners come in. They always want to fetch the old manager in. They've given me a year. For me, I think Tuchel's wanted to get the sack, because he doesn't. Obviously, I don't think he likes the owners, because the elite managers never, ever, ever criticise the team. They might criticise the player, but they don't criticise the team.
Yeah.
And he's criticised the team. I said to you about with that Lukaku. He's not Lukaku's type of manager. Yeah. And why they've bought him, I don't know. £30 million. If Chelsea hadn't sacked them managers, how many world-class players could they have bought?
Oh, it's unbelievable. The
compensation what they've had to pay out.
Yeah, I mean, the turnaround in managers at Chelsea is quite ridiculous.
Why was everybody think that sacking Tuchel is a shock?
Well, it isn't, because if you're looking at the track record of Chelsea from the Abramovich takeover,
exactly.
that's what they've done.
You tell me a manager since Abramovich has been in charge.
Yeah.
Right, up to him leaving, and now we've got the new owners in. How many managers have been there for longer than 3 years?
I don't think there's one that's been longer than 3 years. I mean, possibly Mourinho first time around. How long did he last? 2, maybe 3 years? Bit longer? I'm not sure. Yeah. Without looking at records, I don't know. But they do seem to change their managers very rapidly when it starts to go wrong for them. But to think that the amount of trophies that won in that time with the management turnaround is quite incredible. But it looks as though hopefully now they'll get some stability. A bright young manager in Graham Potter. He'll hit the ground running, and he'll be another.
He has to win though.
Oh, absolutely, he does.
He has to win.
100%. He has to hit that ground running, and he's got to keep on it all the time. It's very difficult at that level.
He's going to the most dangerous club to be sacked.
Without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. But let's hope that he can, because that will be another.
Well, I think he will. Look at his football he plays, and he doesn't. He doesn't criticise the club. He doesn't criticise the players, right? So, end of the day, he's done absolutely brilliant. And I watch a manager, and a couple of games I think we said he's a big chance.
What a goal.
Which one?
Are you watching that?
No, I mean teaching, because obviously
Sane.
they're watching match and they have sound up.
It looks like Sane for Bayern Munich. He's pulled the ball out of the sky, gone round the goalkeeper, and just rolled it in the back of the net. Absolutely.
I've just mentioned him, didn't I? What a bad sale that was by Liverpool. But
no, not Mane, Sane. Oh my God, they're going to disallow the bloody thing. I give up, TC. Let's move on to the book corner, because I can't be having all these brilliant goals and they keep disallowing them. I don't know what's going on in football now. The game's absolutely gone.
Oh, Bayern Munich, Sane, the winger.
Yeah, but it's yeah, I think it's been disallowed. I just give up these days. I just like to watch a game, see a great goal, and it doesn't go to VAR, and it just stands as a goal, because I want to watch goals like that all the time. It's absolute quality, top draw. Book corner in association with myfootballbooks.com. First off this week is The Beautiful Team by Samindra Kunti. I hope I've spelt his or pronounced his name right. And
I'm glad I went saying that.
You wouldn't get that on the BBC or Talk Sport. But it's the inside story of the
If you
world's
don't get
great.
that right, by the way, you can get yourself in trouble.
Absolutely.
Swear word.
To listen to the rest of this podcast, please go to www.patreon.com/SRBmedia or just follow the links in the description. Thank you.